Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Southampton, and today the Daily Forest from the Global Sports Podcast Network. A bit of a strange one today. We didn't manage to squeeze in a crossover episode before the Forest game, but today Zach and myself are joined by Marley from the Forest. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Still a bit annoyed about a lot of things, but there to get into in the episode.
I don't know, mate. In contrast, it feels like that's an unreasonable opinion. It's, but I'm sure we're going to get to it. It's a bit of a strange one to look back or on a match with a Forest set of eyes, but I guess let's get straight into it. What was our pickup in the last 20 minutes? Is presumably where most of your disappointment comes from.
Ooh, I wouldn't say that.
Not really. Most of my disappointment came in the first half. Because there's three things that happen in the first half, which, firstly, obviously, Callum Hudson-Odoi being forced off. Never nice to see. Looks like groin. Not promising. I'm hoping it was precaution. I'm hoping he's not injured. But if he's out, we are really going to miss him. He creates goals, scores goals. He's a massive, massive addition to our squad, and it'll be a massive, massive blow if he's out for a bit. Second is I wouldn't say any individual, although there are two moments in the game that one person, and it's Anthony Taylor. I think yesterday was either show that he's not actually against Forest or show that he has a voodoo doll of Marinakis in his bedroom, and it seems he has a voodoo doll of Marinakis in his bedroom because Flynn Downs has committed two red card challenges and only got a yellow, and then Morgan Gibbs-White has given away a free kick for being within a metre of your player who has tripped over the grass.
That was ridiculous. I'm not going to lie. I to be fair, I don't even think he was going for it either. Like, he fell over, and Anthony Taylor just immediately pointed as a free kick. And I watched Fernandez get up and kind of be like, "What?" But obviously, he didn't argue it, which I think is a problem.
The issue is, it annoys us, but we're not even surprised anymore. We expect that the second we see Anthony Taylor as the referee. He's been awful as when he referees Forest
What's
games.
funny
And I know
is we said exactly the same thing because he's been awful for us as well. So I think at some point you have to write it off as not so much bias as just total utter incompetence.
He's a bad referee because, like, I'm not going to lie. So the Flynn Downs thing we didn't really discuss much yesterday, simply because obviously there was a lot more going on. We tried to talk about some moments of Southampton's game that wasn't absolutely just being tramped on for sort of at least the first 45 minutes. But every time I see that challenge, it gets worse. And like, it doesn't matter if the yellow card that definitely should have been a red at that point. And I'm not surprised he got hooked off. And I said to Greg and Oscar yesterday, like, it seemed like he was really starting to lose his head. But the fact that you can kind of do that, and yet on the flip side of that, there has been a red card for Jack Stevens sort of pulling Cucurella's hair a little bit, and then the other day that happened again, and it was a yellow. It's just, once again, it's the I think it's just the absolute lack of consistency. But in regards to like Anthony Taylor's refereeing in general, it's just every single time that he's reffed the game for us, it becomes about him. There's always like a good 10, 20-minute conversation about him. Greg, did you do an entire episode? It spurred you on to do a whole episode? But
I think I did a 13-minute uninterrupted rant about his poor performance before you cut me off with an ad read. Yeah, it was not great earlier in the season. But yeah, I think we have to move past the idea that it's any bias towards any club and it's just pure and utter incompetence through and through. There's no excusing it.
Obviously, Anthony Taylor has broken the record for most yellow cards in a single game, in a game which wasn't dirty at all. And we have a very nice chant we love to sing, which goes, "It's all about you, Anthony Taylor, it's all about you."
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Although, what I did like was a bit of humour from your fans.
Your third point. Yes,
we're very good at that. We're very self-deprecating also.
We're singing "Beep VAR" after the VAR were checking your goal, to which our fans just decided to join in for no apparent reason.
Yeah, I think that Much like you guys, we have been on the receiving end of some terrible VAR decisions this season. And I think that the feeling is
one
that
of them
even if
became
the
your
decision's
YouTube
going to go our
thumbnail.
way, we'd still rather it not be. Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Yeah, even if the decision ends up going your way, I think we'd all rather just not have it at all, to be honest.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that's widely accepted as the consensus in the fan base, and I said it on the podcast yesterday. The decision that went against you with that goal, it's not something I ever want to be seen as given offside. It's just ridiculous.
That was weird. It should have, it should have been 4-1 realistically, and we should have been on to 10 men. And that's why, as much as I enjoyed the performance in the sort of second half, from a Southampton perspective, it was once again, well, it's really nice that we've kind of tried our best once we've sort of killed the game off, and it was kind of, it's horrible that moments like that are what's needed to rejuvenate a side, and it shouldn't be. And yeah, I'm very concerned about some of the conduct of the players in the first half, and like realistically, it was a howler from Ramsdale that should have stood. It didn't, and the problem is that likewise we've had decisions going against that. I can remember specifically that the goal at Wolves and other things like that, but it's just really upsetting, the lack of consistency and just the sheer, like, how bad it is that you look at a referee before a game and go, oh no, I know his name. But with Anthony Taylor, it's not even that. You're like, oh, good, there's going to be at least 3 or 4 decisions that are talking points. And here we are, 3 or 4 decisions that are talking points.
The thing with Anthony Taylor is
that we've texted each other before games.
He doesn't need to be the referee to make a horrible decision. Morgan Gibbs-White got sent off for winning the ball. Anthony Taylor was the 4th official, and he still managed to make the red card decision somehow. Like, genuinely, it's ridiculous.
It's bad. Again, you just got to hope that it's supposed to be the best league in the world. I kind of find that hard to believe with the level of officiating. But then again, I feel like if you ask pretty much any football fan in any country what their opinion on refereeing is, they'll probably be similar. But again, it's establishing that consistency, and there just seems to be a complete lack of it. And I think that's one of the big problems that I know that's the problems we've really had, Greg, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's consistency, and actually that's what it came back to yesterday with that offside decision, because we had one exactly the same earlier in the season. Was it against Arsenal? I can't remember who it was against, but it was given offside in exactly the same circumstances, which I guess shows some sign of consistency between those two specific decisions. But also, I don't want that. It's never offside. And I think I said it yesterday, the fact that it was maybe the slowest football player I've ever seen in the Premier League who he was supposedly preventing getting to the ball really drills the point home of how ridiculous of a decision it was.
Who's the slowest player in the league?
Paul Ohenachu, our striker.
Who managed to score his first goal yesterday. Seemingly, we never thought we would see it. I thought he was going to be long out the door before he never actually managed to score. So that was at least a positive for us. But hey, Greg, maybe we should hear from Zencastr, and then we should.
Yeah, absolutely. We should leave off the refs for a minute and head to a message from our partners. So, here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform, and Zencastr came out the clear winner with 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs. It's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr. Okay, so I don't know, Marley, if we skipped your third point or if there was anything else you had about the game. To be honest, it's nice hearing it from the Forest perspective after another disappointing loss, really.
Yeah, I mean, our perspective is basically amazing first half, not so amazing second half. We hate Anthony Taylor very much. That's literally all it is, really. We're all delighted for Elliot Anderson. Another player who's scored his first goal for a club, his first Premier League goal, and he genuinely deserves that goal. He's been knocking on the door so much. And the other talking point is a negative one, however. We're questioning Taiwo Awoniyi. We don't know if he's still up to it. We think he's got injured and he's just not the same player anymore. So Maybe, you could replace Onuachu with Taiwo Awoniyi this January. I mean, you remember
I don't think anyone's going to want to come to us that's Premier League.
No.
Pretty sure all of the players we've been linked with are not in the Premier League, probably by design. I don't think anyone that's currently in the league is looking at Southampton as a place to go until at least the end of the season.
Yeah.
No, and to be fair, I mentioned that it was a disappointing one, but also heading into the game, one we were really fully expecting, if we're being honest. What a flying piece of form you guys are on. How's the rest of the season been for you? Has it been a bit of a roller coaster? You just riding the high still? Surely you've got to acknowledge that it's in with a title opportunity now. Are we at that point yet?
It's been really confusing. Like, first thing I want to sort out, by the way, there's been potentially a goal. No, it's offside. Yeah, one thing I want to point out is, at no point will I say we're in a title race. The title race is Liverpool against Liverpool. The only way Liverpool don't win a title is if they do a Liverpool and completely bottle the title again. The rest of the it's obviously it's been a great season, but because we're Nottingham Forest, we haven't allowed ourselves to be confident. Like, we go into every game expecting to do a Forest. Like, I'm still expecting results as if we're about to just scrape 17th by goal difference again. So I'll go into games against you not expecting to win by any more than a goal. I'll go into a game against Brighton expecting to get battered and just get a happy surprise when we come out of it a winner. Like, I was fully expecting you to walk all over us yesterday, simply because when Forest are doing well, we lose the bottom of the league. But what we need to realise now is we are a changed team. It's a different era. We look so much better than we've ever looked before. And fingers crossed, the rest of the season's just going to carry on being extremely good. Champions League on the horizon, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe that you went into the season feeling like it was going to be as sort of successful so far as it's been. But from a fairly neutral perspective, looking in, it is nice to see you up and amongst it. And I mean, I think we can all be in agreement. It's just nice to see City not up and amongst it, right? Is that how you feeling?
Oh, that is real true capitulation, though, isn't it? That is City doing something they've never done before, which is absolutely bottle job it over the space of a couple of games. And again, their last, I remember obviously they went on that massive streak after beating us 1-0, which was less than convincing, but we kind of got in our heads, oh, maybe we're doing really well that we kept the champions to a 1-0 win. And then looking back on the streak afterwards, we should have definitely, had a chance to win that game. But
would
hey
like
ho,
to
it's just
I
how
would
it
like
is,
to
isn't it,
provide an
unfortunately?
elsewhere in the Premier League update. VAR deemed it not to be offside, and Tosin Adarabioyo has put Chelsea 1-0 up against Wolverhampton Wanderers.
That was
Oh, good
very
times.
bravely pronounced. I'll say I don't think I'd have been attempting that.
I do pride myself
We try
on
our best.
pronunciations. I do pride myself on pronunciation attempts. Yeah.
Happy day. Right. Yeah, it's kind of so Europe being a big possibility for you. How do you feel about that then? If you're not in a title race, can you look that far? Or are you thinking maybe at least the conference, Europa Conference, Europa League? Like, would you still be happy with that if everything sort of started to go downhill at the end of the season now, and you ended up still with some sort of European football? Is that considered a win, or do you think that at this point you've let it through your fingers?
I'm with Nuno. The best thing to do at this point, with us doing how we're doing, is take the season one game at a time. Each end of the game. Don't think, oh, this is where we've ended up in the table. This is what we've got to do. Just think, right, this is our next game. This is what I want from it. This is what we'll have to do to get that result. And honestly, the beginning of the season, I predicted 14th, and I would have been more than happy with 17th, delighted with 17th, and I would maintain that. Now we've made 40 points, which almost guarantees survival. I'm just happy. If we don't get Europe, I'm not. If we get Europe, obviously I will be over the moon. apart from the bet I made at the beginning of the season, which if you want me to tell you about it, I will. But all I wanted from this season is to avoid relegation, and we've already achieved that. Anything else that comes, massive bonus. The bet, by the way.
Greg, would you like to remind everybody where you thought? Tell us the bet. Go on, tell us the bet.
The bet is, so I think it was Mark from our podcast said, jokingly, he thought we would qualify for the Europa Conference League. And at the time, with Forest having just beaten Liverpool and all of us expecting, oh, that's our one good result for the season, we're going to go down, said, that will never happen. And if we do qualify for Europe, I'm starting to regret saying this, in true Gary Lineker fashion, only not where they're supposed to be, I will present a podcast with a pair of Nottingham Forest underwear on my head. And every game we win, I'm more and more worried that that's about to happen.
Incredible. I have a similar. Well, I have a bet that if Sulemana scores a winning goal, I have to buy a shirt with his name on the back, which I think is a significantly safer bet because we've. Yeah, see the contrast. Greg, can you tell everybody and remind everybody where you thought we would finish this season?
I predicted that we would finish 12th, and at this point, it's honestly looking like 12 points might actually be out of reach. So
it's the very, very extremely contrasting fortunes. Like we look rather than game by game at this point, we're just looking at next season because that means that we don't need to feel this pain anymore. Because it's like we are a wounded animal.
I was genuinely, this is how much I hate that football club, thinking, do we just play the under-8s against Southampton, take the 25-0 loss, and hope that they can just do their job and not break that record? Because I really want Derby to be the worst team in Prem history. Please, please do us a favour.
That's fair. I think your under-8s might give us a game.
You can have Wood
okay, well,
and Gibbs White on loan.
Positive.
You can have Milenkovic on loan if you really need him. Just don't get less than 12 points.
We're trying.
Right, well, with that glimmer of hope, perhaps, Zach, time for a message from our partners at the Global Sports Podcast Network.
The Global Sports Podcast Network is changing the face of football podcasting with dedicated daily content for every Premier League team, women's football, fantasy football, and a daily Premier League wrap-up broadcasted in 5 different languages. This is your one-stop shop for your daily football fix. Find GSPN wherever you find your usual podcasts.
Okay. I mean, normally we'd have section 3, and this would be predictions. But we know how it went down. So I guess, was there anything from our side that gave you the thought, Marley, that maybe we can get past 12 points? Was there anything that surprised you with our sort of late surge that you weren't expecting to see from the team sat on 6 points at the bottom of the table?
There are a few things. The first one I really noticed is that one of your players that you brought on, I think he would just have to lightly step over the roof of the Bridgeford end as if it was a slug. He is. We've got a 6'9" goalkeeper, and I had the same feeling when he came on as I did where every time he runs out to warm up. Who would that be? Would it be Suleiman Onuachu?
That was tall Paul Ohonachu, yeah.
He's massive, so how you've not won more games with him in the box at corners, I am amazed. Surely he gets goals from
To be honest, the real answer to that is that's the first time I've seen him win a header.
That's unfair. He's had a few,
win
but the problem is they've been so soft. Ironically, he somehow seems to be better with his feet somehow, and that is mad. His hold-up play is really, really good. But to be fair, Greg, he has had some headers that have been on target. It's just that usually it's straight at the goalkeeper, and
I think there was,
that's
to
been
be
the big
fair,
problem. There's a lot of
really
issues.
Good save a couple of weeks ago as well that does him sort of a misservice in that regard. But yeah, there is hope that goal, turns the switch on and opens the floodgates, and maybe we see him go on and maybe score some goals where we get some points as well.
Yeah,
me and Greg have had our opinions on Onuachu.
Yeah, I mean, your team has a bit of fight and a bit of desire. It took a disallowed goal, a goal for you, and about 70 minutes for that desire to show through, but it's definitely there, and your fans are definitely doing their bit. You just also Flynn Downs.
Yeah, our fan base is mad.
To me, Flynn Downs is Ryan Yates if he just wanted to kill someone. Like, he looks like he's got the fight, passion, desire of Ryan Yates, only he goes over the top a little bit too much. So if Flynn Downs
I think
can
it's
tone
just
it down,
frustration.
if he can tone it down, he can become a Ryan Yates in that midfield where everyone absolutely hates him and wants him out of this planet, but your fans all love him and see him as one of the best midfielders on the world. So it's just those fine tunes which will turn you from an awful side into a half decent side. Just need to find a bit more desire earlier on, get Onuachu winning headers, and get Flynn Downs to not try and kill people.
Yeah. Or like kill them the right amount where it stays unpunished anyway. That's a fine line to tread. You want to see physical aggression right up to the line, but not beyond it, right?
Yeah, but physical aggression without the yellow card every single week without fail, mate, is where I'm at. Like, I get it. He sometimes it's like, you know, we've had Bulldogs like that in the past, and like Romeo and Wanyama and people like that. But again, it's like
most successful betting strategy in football history, honestly. Flynn Downs get booked every game, just printing money.
But yeah, the problem is that he is very lucky that this season that it's not been red, and I think that was probably one of the times that it definitely was, and I think that 100% that was probably why Jurek took him off, because I don't know how much he would have gone on the rest of that game without losing his head a little bit. And again, I think it's just the frustrations of the season are boiling over in some of the players, especially the players that have been in the squad since day one, have watched the manager they worked hard with to get promoted sort of go out the door. And you can see it in both Taylor Harbour-Bellis and Downs yesterday. Last in the game, because, you know, they're just it must really suck to be that bad and lose all of these games and not have really anything, and then fight sort of for a bit of the time, and then still end up with nothing. But alas, we are the architects of our own downfall 90% of the time.
The thing I like is your fans see the funny side. Like, we start singing when we're playing a team down the bottom of the table, down with the Leicester, you're going down with the Leicester. But you were the first team I've heard respond, down with the Leicester, we're going down with the Leicester.
We know what we're about. Self-deprecating humour is a part of Southampton's DNA, I'm afraid.
At least you get to thump Pompey next season, if they stay up.
Yeah, I'm really hoping not. That's going to be games that we're going to have to struggle going to and from, Greg, right?
It's games that my wife has outright told me that I'm not allowed to take the kids to, so I guess I'll have an extra ticket for you, mate. We're all right.
Happy days.
But yeah, well, I guess that really draws us to a close. It was a game. It was a game where, I mean, the team that was expected to win won, and we gave ourselves something to talk about by showing up later in the game with a little bit of an assist from Anthony Taylor, it has to be said. So I think that sums it up very nicely. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me. It's been a wonderful podcast and something a bit different. And thank you, everyone, for listening. You've been listening to the Daily Southampton and the Daily Forest. And we will see you next time.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.